With the patch being released and a couple days passing, we now know exactly what the most broken things are on the patch. These are absolute outliers that you need to abuse in your games if you're trying to win every single one. Make sure you smash that like button, destroy the sub button, and let's jump right in. Let's get an obvious one out of the way first. If you guys aren't banning or playing Wukong, then you definitely should be right now. Not only is he incredibly powerful in the jungle, but he's also pretty good top lane, and right now the jungle Wukong is actually more popular and outperforming top lane Wukong. But I'm not here to just give you a broken champion to play in your game. This is all about the strategies and ideas behind them, and Wukong shares a trait with a lot of other champions who are really powerful right now. These really strong champions that have the potential to solo carry are champions who take Conqueror, and they can either build Blade of the Ruined King or Death's Dance, or even better, they can build both of them. When you combine the effect of the rune and the items together, you have ridiculous fighting prowess, and you also have insane sustain. This makes it so that nobody, no matter who you're fighting against, can actually lane against you for an extended period of time. Is it a tank with Bramble Vest? That doesn't matter, because you can lifesteal off of minions after you trade with them. Is it another person who bought Executioner's Calling? Well, chances are you already put them behind, and it doesn't matter that they can counter your healing. The main problem with this item build is that you can buy lifesteal before people get a chance to counter it. Once you have a Vamp Scepter or maybe even the full item, they have to react to that and then buy an Executioner's Calling. And all of the value that you get from the sustain in lane, being able to get more minions, more experience, and win trades against them gives you so much value already that they can't possibly make it up afterwards. We compiled a quick reference list of the champions who can actually do this in one way or another, either with Blade of the Ruined King, Death's Dance, or both. You can pick from Camille, Darius, Fiora, Garen, Hecarim, Irelia, Jax, Kled, Nasus, Nocturne, Olaf, Pantheon, Renekton, Rengar, Set, Talon, Trundle, Tryndamere, Urgot, Yorick, and Yasuo. It's also really important to mention that this works across all roles. You might be playing them in their standard role, like say Jax top lane, but you could also do this in the jungle. And the same thing for say a Fiora top lane could also be played mid lane if it's in the right matchup, and you aren't gonna get absolutely destroyed by the opponent's poke before you get the lifesteal you need to sustain through it. And while we're talking about solo lanes, let's talk about something that's really important. First of all, Tristana solo lane is gonna be absolutely disgusting. Remember, they buffed the early kill experience on this patch, and Tristana also got a damage buff. Yeah, solo lane Tristana is gonna come back, kill somebody at level 2, and then they're just gonna win the game from there because they're gonna be 6 levels ahead of your opponent by the time they hit level 11. Right now it's unclear as to whether or not Tristana would want Halo Blades or press the attack right now, considering that Halo Blades was buffed since the last time she was played as a solo laner, but regardless, her e-buffs are insane, and the solo kill experience will make her absolutely pop off in every game. This will no doubt be addressed in her hotfix or maybe in a next patch, so make sure you take advantage of it now. But of course, why would we tell you something if it's only gonna last for a patch, right? There's still an overlying idea behind this, and the important takeaway here is that solo killing your opponent is very powerful right now. If you play a champion who isn't reliant on your jungler to kill your opponent, then you automatically have a really big advantage, because the experience gap between you and your opponent is going to be so large that you won't need help ever. And instead of having to get your jungler there to help you and get your lane rolling, if you can do it by yourself, you'll be able to set somebody behind by 1, 2, maybe even 3 levels if done properly. Tristana just happens to be a champion who got buffed and is also an insane lane bully. Her level 1 is extremely annoying to deal with, and her level 2 pretty much guaranteed kills everybody else in the game. Lane bullies and assassins are going to be the stars of the show in a lot of the solo lanes now because of all the changes around them and how the experience works. Remember, every single kill that you get puts you further ahead and your opponent farther behind. While Riot did compensate for this by giving a little bit of a home guards effect so that people can get back to lane a bit faster, if you just end up killing them again, then it's even worse. If you just end up turbo feeding somebody like a Talon, the game is probably over. The fact that he's going to roam a lot and miss some experience won't matter if he continually kills both your team elsewhere and you over and over again. Of course, the idea behind this is kind of matchup dependent, but there are some champions that just tend to win almost every single matchup that they're in the early game. Anywhere between levels 1 to 3 and even at level 6 would still be very beneficial to you if you manage to get this snowball rolling. Champions who can usually do this almost every single matchup that they're in are Camille, Darius, Diana, Irelia, Jace, Kalista, Kennen, Kled, LeBlanc, Mordekaiser, Olaf, Pantheon, Renekton, Riven, Set, Singed, Sylas, and Talon. They have a lot of ways to get themselves a lead and be able to kill people individually on their own, and beyond that, they also have a lot of tools to continuously push their lead that they've already gotten and grow it even more. And on the topic of growing even more, to get more videos like this one and tips and tricks as well as coaching and educational content to improve your gameplay, make sure you go check out our website, GameLeap.com. Maybe one of the champions we covered interests you and you want to learn him and abuse him on this patch and all the future ones. Well, that's something that we've got up there too. We have tons of guides created by challenger level players on just about any topic that you could ever need, whether it be a champion guide, a macro guide, a micro guide, lane specific guides, and more. We're always trying to make more and better content with our creators so that we can give you guys the best edge and information that we possibly can in order to win your games. And while unfortunately we didn't manage to get Nunu in there because he is the snowball champion literally, we can't talk about him when we're talking about our next idea, which is fast farming, scaling junglers coming in and getting ready to wreck everybody. With the recent changes to jungle items, jungle experience, and assisted kill experience, this means that early game repeat gank junglers are less powerful now, period. They will have less experience in their pockets, as will the laners that they help out, and it's not that big of a deal if you do happen to die once, maybe twice in the early game to a jungle gank like that. Champions who can really turbo clear all of their camps and get themselves to high levels will really have the abilities to get themselves to higher levels than their opponents, especially if their opponents are wasting a lot of time and failing at ganking. If you only have 1 in 4 successful ganks, then you're gonna fall behind your opponent by a lot, and you'll be able to demolish them in the jungle if you have a large enough level lead, no matter what the matchup is. This of course is not to say that you can't gank, of course you should, and you will have opportunities to. Remember, camps do have a 2-minute respawn timer, but hard camping a lane isn't going to be that strong, and as long as you don't do that and make sure you clear efficiently, you'll be doing fine and way better than your opponent. The way this will end up playing out is that let's say your opponent does get a successful gank off in the top lane, but you're farming really fast, and you're farming about twice as fast as they are. You end up 3 jungle camps ahead of them. The next time you do that, you'll be another 3 ahead of them, and they get 1 more gank off. So right now you're 0-0-0 and have about 50 CS, and they're 1-0-1 with half your farm. You just hit your ultimate level 6 spike as a late game champion who wants to farm a lot, and they're still level 5, maybe even level 4 if they didn't stick around for minion waves. You can just go in the enemy jungle and kill them because they don't have an ultimate and you do. You are way stronger than them. And even if you happen to be playing a tanky champion who doesn't really focus on 1v1ing, guess what? You could just turn up the heat and start ganking like crazy, because you've gotten to the point where you naturally clear the jungle so much faster than your opponent that you can afford to gank and farm quickly at the same exact time. And of course, while this whole thing is going on, you are consistently getting more powerful than they are. They might spike at level 6 and kind of be able to match you again, but you're still way ahead of them in experience as you gain levels quicker towards level 9. And that's where the bonus experience really starts to kick in, and you'll be 2 to 3, maybe even 4 levels ahead of your opponent, because they still aren't getting the bonus experience from hitting level 9 in the jungle from their camps, and you are. That 1 to 2 level lead can easily double at that point, and if you haven't already blown the game open by that point, that's your second opportunity to do so. And remember, you still outscale them, so you still have more opportunities to go. This really works with champions like Ivern, Nunu, Wukong, Kindred, Karthus, Graves, and Zac, who are all able to gank efficiently and clear very effectively. They either have a lot of power baked into their kit or just a lot of safety baked into their kit and continually play the game without having to worry about what their opponents are doing, and can eventually counter gank or maybe even 1v1 somebody towards level 6. And since we've got all this on jungle right now, let's mention a quick idea that doesn't necessarily just apply to jungle, but it's about something that's in the jungle. There's this sort of game plan that you should always have in every single game that you play, no matter what role you're playing. You see, Riot's really good at making people care about something that doesn't matter at all. Let me ask you a question. If you just killed your laner and you're basically full health, and let's say you're playing mid or bot, right? What's the first thing that you think about to do? If the answer in your head was push the lane and go to dragon, that is just wrong in almost every single scenario. While you're here, make sure that you make a small incision behind your ear and just pull that idea out of your brain and put this new one in. The first dragon is completely fake. If you have the opportunity to pick between anything else and taking the first dragon, you should take the other thing. Can you counter jungle 2 jungle camps? Go do that instead, it's better. Can you take tower plates? Go do that, it's way better. Can you go take the Rift Herald? That is so much better that I couldn't even offer a description for how much better it is. Actually, you know what, wait, I got this, I got one, all right, you ready? It's like the difference between having a sad, poorly cooked hockey puck hamburger and a deluxe, juicy hamburger topped with chorizo and jalapenos and cheese and all that juicy good stuff. It's just so sad of a comparison. And there's also a flip side to this too. If the enemy takes the first dragon, you shouldn't care at all. Actually, no, you should care, because they're now proving that they're not understanding how to play the game properly. When you're doing well or just matching your opponent, then you should absolutely shove the lane if they ever try and move and take dragon, and make sure you get tower plates. Or maybe you're really far ahead and you've already destroyed the tower or taken a significant amount of plates. If you have bonus time and there's nothing else for you to do, sure, go ahead, take the dragon. But if there's anything else, and I mean anything else that you can do to get yourself a lead in that moment, it's better than taking that first dragon of the game. Once tower plates fall, then it becomes a real option. And there's one last thing that we'll point out as a broken thing for you to abuse on this patch. Champions who can counter jungle easily are going to be extremely important right now. Champions like Nidalee or Graves are very powerful because every camp that you get matters now. You can't fall behind the experience curve and then make it up with ganks. You will be so much worse now in the game if you rely on ganks for experience on kills and assists than you were before, because camps matter that much more and the experience scaling matters that much more. Champions like Nidalee and Graves will absolutely blow games out of the water. You're going to be 3 to 4 levels up on your opponent by the time you hit level 9, and it will be so far gone that it's basically impossible to come back from. Much like the mindset of the first dragon is fake point, this also doesn't just apply to jungle. If you play a champion who can counter jungle well, like say Talon, and just steal away Big Raptor or even all the Raptors over and over again from your opponent, that is one camp that you continuously take away from them and do not allow them to get experience from. And you could do this with plenty of champions against plenty of camps. Champions like Darius or Brand or Talon, who recently got abilities buffed against jungle camps, are all fine choices for taking away some of the monsters in your opponent's jungle. Because this is something that is going to be so prevalent, let me just give you a quick tip about counter jungling right now. If you are confident that the next time the camp respawns, you will be able to be there and take it again guaranteed, then you kill the whole camp. Otherwise, you leave one small raptor, a small wolf, or one small Krug alive so that when it's gone, the enemy has to come there and finally finish it off in order for it to respawn again. This will set them several minutes behind in terms of the golden experience that they can get. And with that, that wraps up all the broken things that you need to abuse on patch 10.8. And to find more content on the topics that we covered, whether it be counter jungling, champions, or other ideas that we spoke about in this video, then I highly recommend that you check out our website, GameLeap.com. We have tons of videos up there all done by challenger level players, and we always are trying to release more and better content for you guys to help give you a big edge in order to win and improve in your games. We get to go way more in depth on our videos in there, and we can even do full-length VOD reviews of high challenger level players in order to give you guys the breakdown of exactly what they're doing and how to take that into your games. And if you made it this far, thanks for watching the whole video. What do you guys think about this new format? We're trying to get better at giving you guys the exact information you need in order to stomp your games, and we thought that this one was worth a try. Anyways, as always, my name is Ace Windstorm, and I will see you all later.
All is connected. There is nothing to fear.